In this video, we'll learn about Southwest Minnesota Arts Council's Equipment and Facilities Improvement Grants for fiscal year 2026, which runs from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The intent of the Equipment and Facilities Improvement Grants Program is to strengthen arts organizations' capacity to serve the arts needs of their communities. Grants are available for up to $10,000, and funding comes from Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage or Legacy Fund. Applicant organizations need to be located in Southwest Minnesota Arts Council or SMOC's service area, which includes 18 counties and 2 tribal nations. These are Big Stone, Chanchayapi or Lower Sioux Community, Chippewa, Cottonwood, Jackson, Candy, Ojai, Lac-Oparo, Lincoln, Lyon, McLeod, Meeker, Murray, Nobles, Pizhoo-Dizizi or Upper Sioux Community, Pipestone, Redwood, Renville, Rock, Swift, and Yellow Medicine. We acknowledge that the Southwest Minnesota region occupies the traditional, ancestral, and contemporary lands of the Dakota people. This grant program is mainly focused on 501c3 arts nonprofits, but non-arts organizations may also apply if the main purpose of the equipment or improvements is to support community arts projects. Units of government may also apply, which include city, county, or tribal governments with arts needs. If your organization is operating in the spirit of a nonprofit but you don't have your 501c3 status yet, you can apply using a fiscal sponsor, which is an organization that does meet our eligibility requirements, who will receive and manage your project funds for you. Your application would then need to include an agreement between your 2 organizations outlining how that relationship will work, and someone from the fiscal sponsor organization will need to sign all of your grant documents, including your application. Equipment and facilities projects may include, but are not limited to, purchase of sound and lighting equipment, theater curtains and rigging, trapdoors, dance floors, risers, instruments, kilns, and other studio equipment for art classes. Also eligible are computers, tablets, printers, and software, chairs and tables, office furniture, storage, which could include things like shelving or trailers, and also structural improvements like signage, improvements to bathrooms, elevators, windows and doors, and anything related to improving accessibility. If your organization does not own the space that it uses, you will need to submit a facility cooperative agreement with your application, and this agreement is between your organization and the facility owner and will outline your ownership of and access to your equipment and improvements. There are some funding limits involved with this grant program. Applicants can only receive up to $50,000 for equipment and facilities improvement within a rolling 10-year time frame. Also, organizations are limited to $20,000 per year in SMOC grant funds across all grant programs. So this may require your organization to do some planning at the beginning of the year to figure out what you want to be able to apply for. Some things that are ineligible for these grants include new construction or purchase of real estate, activities of a for-profit project, organization, or business, projects that don't have an art focus, educational projects within a school system. Schools are not eligible to apply under this grant program. Fundraising events. In other words, the grant funds should allow your project to break even, not to make a profit. Also ineligible are activities that take place outside of Minnesota, since we are using state funds for this grant. Also ineligible are payments of debts incurred before the grant begins, grant funds being used to match another SMOC grant, receiving a direct Minnesota legislative appropriation or legislatively mandated grant from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund for fiscal year 2026, and this would be funds that are allocated directly to your organization by the state legislature. And also ineligible are applicants with a past due final report still outstanding with us. There is one deadline per year for this grant program. This year that is January 28th for projects starting March 1st or later, and applications need to be submitted by 4 p.m. on that deadline date. You'll need to choose a project start date, and in doing that, you'll first want to check for that earliest allowed start date because you can't start any project activities or spend any funds before the start date. And this would include things like ordering supplies, parts, equipment, any payments to contractors, any advertising about the project, etc. If there's something you absolutely do need to spend money on before that start date, if you have to put a deposit on a contract, then you cannot include that amount in your grant project budget. You'll also need to choose an end date, so make sure to give yourself time to both complete the purchases or improvements and then to evaluate how those are working for your organization. Anything that is awarded in fiscal year 26, this current year, needs to be finished up by June 30th of 2027, which is the latest end date that you could have. In preparing to fill out your application, these are the kinds of questions you'll need to answer and materials you'll need to gather. You'll need a detailed description of your proposed purchases or improvements. You can optionally include equipment specs, technical diagrams, or photos of the space. You'll need to include qualifications of your consultants or contractors, a schedule for your project. Again, if you don't own your own space, a facility cooperative agreement. You'll also need your itemized budget. Some more things to include are your proposed project outcomes and an evaluation plan, a summary of your organization's mission, history, programming, and a board list, information about how you make your arts programming choices, your organization's strategies for reaching underserved and underrepresented communities, some demographic and organization data, and contact information for your project director and authorizing official. The project director is the person who will be most directly responsible for the day-to-day activities of the project, and your authorizing official would be someone with authorizing power for your organization, like your president or treasurer. These cannot be the same person, and both will need to sign all of your grant documents, including your application. Here are the scoring criteria that the review panelists will be using to score your application. They will look at the feasibility of your project, worth 15% of your score, the merit of your organization and artistic quality of its programs, worth 32% of your score, and the impact of the project on your organization, worth 53% of your score. In more detail, for feasibility of the project, they'll be looking to see that you have made appropriate choices for your equipment or improvements, that you have a reasonable timeline and budget, and capable and committed personnel. Under merit of the organization, they'll be looking to see that your organization plays a role in community artistic development and receives community support, that your projects and activities have high artistic merit, that you enable underserved or underrepresented people in your community to participate in your activities, that you're making efforts toward ADA accessibility, and they'll also look for evidence of strength of your organization and governance. Then for impact on the organization, they'll be looking to see that the project strengthens your ability to provide high-quality arts activities, that it challenges and stretches your organization, that you've identified proposed changes to take place as a result of the project and have plans to measure or prove whether those changes have taken place. SMOC staff can offer assistance in several ways as you work on your application. You can talk through your project with us before getting started and make sure your project is eligible, you're applying under the right grant program and deadline. You can get answers to your questions about the application as you're starting to work on that. And SMOC staff can also review your application before you submit it. If you let us know up to about 2 weeks before the deadline, we can guarantee we're able to look at that and give you some feedback on whether you're missing anything, if anything might sound confusing to the reviewers, etc. There are also many resources available for you on our website at swmnarts.org. The site includes guidelines and criteria, important dates, a preview of application and report questions. There are also instructional videos available, including how to use the online grant system, how the grant process works, and some grant writing topics like reaching underserved and underrepresented communities and grant goals and evaluation. You'll also find workshop opportunities, both virtual and in person. Also on the website are some sample documents so you can see what a contract looks like, for instance, along with credit lines and logos you may need to use. There is a login to the online grant system and multiple ways to connect with SMOC staff. If you have a smaller or more timely equipment or facilities need, you may want to look at our Quick Support for Organizations grants, which provide organizations with more quickly accessible funds for small projects. These grants are available for up to $2,500 and have a monthly deadline, the first of the month, August through May, and funding comes from Minnesota's Arts and Cultural Heritage or Legacy Fund. You can find more information about Quick Support for Organizations grants on our website. Thanks for learning about Southwest Minnesota Arts Council's Equipment and Facilities Improvement Grants. Please contact us with any questions or visit our website for more information.